My name is Nell Foster, and I have been a primary school teacher in various multilingual classrooms for over 15 years. And now I'm doing research into translanguage pedagogy, so how to integrate home languages in the classroom. So for myself, I've always been interested in languages. Although I grew up in a monolingual household, I started learning French at 11, and then I studied languages at university. And I now speak 6 languages to various different degrees of competence. They're very different according to different kinds of pupils, and different pupils will benefit in different ways. The most obvious is children who have recently arrived in the country and are still learning the language of schooling. So if you allow these children to use their home languages, you transform their ability to access content material, and you transform their ability to develop an identity of competence. And it means that they're not condemned to 6 months or a year of non-participation. And you also recognise what they've learnt before, and you recognise the skills that they've developed in another school system. And so when you start recognising the linguistic diversity of the classroom in a positive way, you give these children opportunities also to kind of reconceptualise languages and to say, well, maybe I can learn other languages, and maybe it gives a positive perspective on learning languages. You take on a different role with these children because you don't speak their languages by definition. Maybe you might speak one of the languages in the classroom, but you switch roles and you enable the children to teach you and to explain themselves. So in terms of a learning experience, they had to externalise a lot more of their learning. And the fact that we'd had those interactions for languages that were generally very much hidden in the classroom was a much more powerful cognitive and social experience for those children. So it's easy to be worried that if you don't speak the language of schooling, you can't help the pupils. But in actual fact, it puts you as a teacher in a very different position. You learn a lot about yourself and what you think you know about your pupils, and you realise that there's an awful lot that you don't know. So it makes you take a step back on your own practice. It makes you look a bit more deeply at skills that children have that aren't necessarily valued immediately by the school system and don't seem to be the obvious route to learning. And so as a teacher, that's it's a very powerful position to put yourself in, and to really try to understand the pupils in your care.